We're glad you joined us today. We know the road may feel isolating, but we are here to go along this journey with you and love the call to action. Ruck Up Buttercup is a podcast hosted by Deployed Love, where we're going to join together and chat about all things military life. So you know the drill. Ruck Up Buttercup! Hey everybody, welcome back. The holiday minis for Deployed Love are over, and we are all so excited to see all the pictures and to see that we got to support so many amazing families this year. I think we had 10 successful events this year, which is a ton of families. So if you came out, thanks for coming out to one of our events, and I'm glad that you got to meet some of us on our team. But we are back with a girl chat. We have Kim back finally. I feel like we haven't seen you in months. How are you?
I'm good. I've missed y'all.
And we have Ashley, of course, too.
Hello, everybody.
So we are kind of at the end of our year, and we're really excited because it's holiday season. And so for a little bit of fun, the girls don't know the questions yet, but I decided we're going to kick this episode off with a little bit of Would You Rather. So I have 10 different Would You Rather questions, and we'll see kind of a good way for us to get to know each other and you guys to get to know us a little bit better. So the first one is, would you rather be a kid or a grandparent during the holidays?
I'm going to say grandparent because my dad is all about my kids lately, and it is just amazing to watch. So
yeah, I would say grandparents. I just remember like being a kid and my grandparents just watching us open presents, and I feel like they got more joy out of it than we ever did.
I mean, if I could be my grandmother, like 100%, because she was like the person that like everyone flocked to over the holidays. Like she made all the cookies and she made like the dinner and all, she would teach us. So I think I would go with grandparents too.
Yeah, they're happy and they have all the time in the world during the holidays. So it's nice. All right. The second one is, would you rather be famous for starring in a cheesy holiday movie or not be famous at all? I'd rather just not be famous. I don't need to be famous.
I don't know. I love holiday movies, so I think I want to be in a holiday movie.
I love the holiday movies too, but I think just the simplicity of life is better than going out and being surrounded by people.
Number 3, would you rather untangle Christmas lights or be a mall Santa?
Ooh.
That is bad.
They're both awful. I think I could handle being a mall Santa. They get paid a lot of money, and you're going to sit there and just talk to kids. It's not that bad.
Yeah, because I can't do lights. I just literally went and bought new lights because I was like, I'm not doing lights. So
Yeah, I guess Santa, because we don't really do lights. So
they're just the worst untangle because like one bulb will always get stuck like through the rope. Like, what
or
is
like
happening?
it breaks and the whole strand like doesn't even work afterwards because you broke something, and so then you have to go buy another one. So you just wasted a bunch of time.
We bought lights a couple of years ago that literally you couldn't even replace the bulbs. So if one goes out, the entire light is it's just done. I was like, no, that's garbage.
Mine was on the tree. Like I bought a pre-lit tree like 2 years ago, and like Jeremy was just like, repeat after me. I was like, I will never. And I was like, buy a pre-lit tree. Yes, sorry, won't do it.
Yeah, I'll never do that again. It does, because then you have like just blank light bulbs and you still have to use strings of light. It's so pointless.
Yeah, so he ended up cutting it out and I went and bought lights because like this is just a deploy to like get women to buy a new Christmas tree every 2 years. And I was like, I mean, probably, but
I've had my pre-lit tree for 11 years now. This will be my 11th year.
You've had no issues with it? We must just take them apart violently.
No, it's actually held up, and every year I tell myself this will be the year I have to buy a new one because it's getting really, really old. And no, it works. But watch, this will be my kick in the teeth.
This year you're gonna pull it out and it's not gonna work.
We had to buy a new one last year, not because our old one didn't work, but because it was so small. We'd been doing fresh trees for the 2 years before that when we lived in our old house. And then we pulled out the little one because I was like, oh, we'll just put this up because Dustin was deployed, and then pulled it out and set it up. And I was like, oh, I didn't remember this being like 5 feet tall. I was like, this looks so silly next to our staircase. So we had to buy 7 foot.
Right now, too, they're doing the trees for troops. So if you can get a free tree at your base, that's even better than having to go purchase one. So
I love that program so much. I'm so sad that we don't qualify anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then you don't have to PCS with it. You just get rid of it at the end of the year. All right. So on to number 4. Would you rather give up Christmas trees or Christmas cookies? I couldn't go without my tree.
One.
I really love the whole theme of trees. I could live without Christmas cookies.
There's 500
Because
other
we don't
baked
even
goods.
do really Christmas cookies anyways. It's always like chocolate chip cookies. So
see, I love sugar cookies. I don't know. But the cookies have to be cooked perfectly. The tree can always like be turned into perfect.
Yeah.
Mine looks like
That's a hard
crazy, but
one.
I just let it happen. We have like rainbow lights on it, which I hate. I love white lights. And then they put up like turquoise and purple was the color that they all decided on. I was like, why does it look like a rainbow? I don't understand.
It's so funny. When we first got married, our tree was like a peacock colored themed. I don't know what I was thinking. And then eventually I was like, no, we are going back to the traditional like red and greens. And so now we have like a very traditional Christmas looking tree with like homemade ornaments and stuff on it.
Yeah, last year we made homemade garland with the little mint candies, but then I pulled them out this year to put them on. And I was like, well, that's not going to go with what you guys have decorated this tree. So much for that. So number 5, would you rather be an elf in Santa's shop or a reindeer on Santa's sleigh?
Reindeer.
No question. I want to fly.
There was no question. I don't want to be working. I want to be flying around on the sled or with the sled, I guess.
I don't know. I think elf.
It's a pretty cool workshop. If it's anything like the Santa Claus, they get like unlimited hot cocoa.
And they're Mrs. Claus's babies, right? She takes care of them and loves on them and gives them cookies.
You're just here for the cookies. We know how it is. All right, number 6. Would you rather know your gifts or be surprised?
Be surprised.
Yeah.
I like to be surprised, but my family is really bad about telling the gifts before.
You don't get the option.
We're really bad, like, or especially me and Jeremy, like, we tend to just be like, okay, like, I bought my Christmas gift, like, it's wrapped up under the tree, like,
Buy your own stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the same way. My
But
husband
it usually tends to happen that way, so I don't get a lot of surprises. Last year, I had a really good surprise. Jeremy surprised me last year. I thought he got me a really bad, like, Walmart necklace, but he ended up, like, putting, like, the surprise underneath it, so I didn't notice it until probably like 2 hours after we were done with gifts. We were cleaning up and he was just like handing it to me. I'm like, yeah, I saw this. Like, do you really expect me to wear this? He goes, can you look underneath it? And so he got me a bow, like a compound bow for Christmas, and I wasn't expecting that. So that was a nice surprise.
That is cool.
But I was just like, well, that compound bow I didn't get though until like 4 weeks ago. So
yeah, I definitely like surprises more because I'm like, if I know, I'm gonna just be disappointed the whole time because I don't ever really get that exciting of gifts anyway. So I'm like, I'll just know that it's under there and be like,
yeah.
At least I'm disappointed the day of, I guess. And it's things that I'm like every single year I get a blanket. That's like my gift. I'm like, well, at least it was a surprise. So I was excited until Christmas.
I think like especially moms usually don't always, like, we always go out of our way to make it so special for everyone else. And I know like a lot of years, like, everyone else will have all these things and I'll have like 2 or 3 things. And like at first it used to bother me, but now I'm kind of like, well, I mean, as long as everyone else is having a really good holiday, like that's what's more important to me. So I've always kind of like, I'm fine with what I get. But a lot of times I'll just go and buy what I want afterwards. I'm like, I didn't get anything for Christmas, so I'm going to go buy what I want.
All right, number 7 is Thanksgiving here. So would you rather eat a whole turkey in one sitting or never have turkey again? If you told me you want turkey, that's all you wanted for Thanksgiving.
I did, because I love turkey, but if I ate an entire turkey in one sitting, I would never want turkey ever again. So
both ways.
Just not turkey. So it's one of those, like, eat it and just be sick at the thought of never having turkey again, or just not having turkey ever again. I think I'm going to pick never having turkey again.
I could just go without turkey. It's not my favorite.
I mean, I like turkey, especially if it's cooked the right way, but I don't want to be like nauseous every time I think of turkey either. So
Yeah, it's just too dry for me. Even when it's cooked well, it's still like the next day it's dried out and it's just not
have
my
you
thing.
had a fried turkey though?
I think so at some point. It's probably been a while though.
It's very juicy and moist and delicious.
Fried
And
turkey is
probably
the only way we do
really
turkey here.
yes. We did smoke one year and it was really good too.
That
But
does sound pretty good.
fried is still like my favorite. When it oozes juices, it's so delicious.
All right. Would you rather help a friend wrap their presents or help a friend shop for their presents?
Shop, but I like shopping.
I'd rather wrap. I don't like going out in the Christmas time. There's too many people out there.
That's true too.
I'd rather
But I
just be
hate
sitting at
wrapping.
their house drinking wine and wrapping paper. That'd be super fine. I'd be fine with that. Put on a Christmas movie.
I guess my wrapping experiences have just been like like on
That's
the
because I'm always stuck doing them by
hunched over on
myself.
the floor. Yeah, hunched
Yeah,
over on the
but
floor,
wouldn't it be-
like
that's what-
trying to hide them.
That's what we need to do is just put one of
We should just take the
all of our
kids out
kids with our
somewhere.
husbands and then just stay at one of our houses and wrap presents. I think that
I'm
would be
down.
so much fun. Just put on a
I'm
good
down.
Christmas movie or two, drink wine. Way more enjoyable than sitting there
That
by
sounds
yourself
way
the day
more
before Christmas.
enjoyable than like hunched over on the floor trying to wrap a bunch of presents
I'm
before the
definitely
child
a
like
wrap and
sneak.
wine person too.
Definitely. That would be fun. I think we should try to plan that. You're like, okay, you guys get all the kids. We're going to wrap presents. Have a good day.
That's what we
Cannot
do. We do that at Christmas before Santa comes. I just sit in there and we watch our Christmas movies, and my husband drinks his coffee and eats the cookies, and I wrap.
It's nice. Last year, I just sat upstairs by myself on the cold floor wrapped, and I was miserable and did not enjoy any of it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Number 9. Would you rather it snowed every day in December or not at all?
Every day in December.
Not at all.
I don't like snow, but if
Oh
it did it
my
in December,
gosh.
that's the only month I want it. If it stops out on December 31st and back to normal, like that'd be fine.
I'm from the South. I do not want snow.
I'm from the South, but like I think our time when we were at J Bear, like where in Alaska it snows all the time. Like I loved it. Like I loved waking up during the holiday season and it was snowy white outside. Like I hate North Carolina because North Carolina we don't ever get snow. So
Yeah, see, I like snow on Christmas. I remember waking up in Colorado with snow on Christmas. Like that I love, but I'm like beyond that, it's a little, I just hate being cold and I hate being wet, and that's all that is cold and wet.
I'm the same
but
way.
like-
One or 2 days, I'm good.
yeah, but like but the thing is if you're prepared for it, then it's not so bad. We live in a place where we're never prepared for it. We don't have the appropriate clothing. We don't have any of the stuff that like makes snow okay. So then we're always freezing our butts off because like we just have like our little like jackets that we wear when it's chilly outside in the South. I don't know. I pick snow every day in December. I would love it.
All right, last question for would you rather. Would you rather have a holiday party every night in December or have no holiday parties at all?
Holiday party every night.
I could go with it.
hang
Cookies,
out with
snacks,
me.
treats.
Yes, hang out. Let's party. Everybody is invited.
Watch all the movies.
I would love to have a holiday party every night, but then the whole month of January I'm sleeping.
Yeah, you just hibernate after that. Like you're just not going to hear from me for 30 days.
Recovering.
You would have to for sure.
Rest and relaxation, but probably recovery
Yeah. Like I was just thinking like
from a drinking.
just like the drinking and just consistently having something from like dusk to dawn. Like that just sounds really exhausting, but like especially like if every holiday was different, like each night was something different, like that would be so much fun.
It would be really fun. Like I'm down for that. If I could afford that, that would be the biggest thing. Can you afford to drink every night?
Can afford it. Yep.
I think my body could afford it.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this, we're going to have this over on Deployed Love Hearts Connected So come tell us your answers. We'd love to hear them. It'd be fun to see what you guys say. But we're going to obviously talk about holidays, not always just Thanksgiving and Easter, but just kind of holidays throughout the year. So we're going to kind of start off with what our favorite holiday is. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first. I probably will say Christmas is my favorite. I really love Thanksgiving, but I love any holiday that has food. So Thanksgiving is close, but to my second, but Christmas is my favorite. I love all the traditions, time that we get together with family and the magic that the kids see. It could be a very crazy and chaotic time of year, but it also could be very magical. So that's what I love about it.
Mine would have to be St. Patrick's Day, because that's when my husband and I got married. We did not know it was St. Patrick's Day, but ever since then, it's just one of those days. I know, actually, you laugh, but we really did not know it was St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, we had a courthouse wedding, and one of our friends showed up at the courthouse and was like, "Y'all aren't wearing green," and we're like, "Are we supposed to?" But ever since, it's just been one of those days where, you know, I'll buy a bunch of special stuff, and the kids and the husband and all celebrate, just have a little extra fun. I love Christmas too and Easter, but St. Patrick's Day is where my heart is.
So it's going to be really weird, but that's my favorite holiday too, because it's the day before my birthday. So we always have huge parties. We go out and go to like all the parades, and we always dress up and go to the bars.
And drink green beer.
Yep, drink green. I've always had to have a green beer since I turned 21. It's just always been my tradition too. So it's a weird holiday and nobody cares about it most of the time, but
which is really fun, because you can usually find decorations because nobody is decorating. Like they'll put out the beads and the clovers and stuff, and you can usually find really good stuff without it being sold out.
And it's a cold time of year, so it's kind of a nice time to have a break from, because you just did January and February where there's not much going on, and so then March is like, yay, it's something to do in the middle of March. So we love it. So that's funny that we have that. Such an odd one, but that's definitely my favorite too. So another one that this is kind of more of a topic to go back to the military side of things. When you're in the military, you definitely get to see a lot of culture and a lot of different places that you've lived and stuff like that. So have you guys had any holidays that you celebrate differently because of your time in the military? Maybe that's because of deployments or just being far away from family or anything like that.
Not necessarily different. I know like at Christmas time, I pull a lot of the German culture in just from our time overseas. But like anything like that's outside of like the normal US holidays, we don't really celebrate. We did celebrate, is it St. Nicholas Day in Germany? When we lived over there, we celebrated it, but like I never really like kept it going with my kids. I don't think I do anything. Don't realize that I do it.
That's the one that we add on because of living in Germany is St. Nicholas Day. And my kids, they're like, when's the day we put out our boots? When do we put out our boots? It's coming up because it's early in the month. So it's like, we have to remember that it's coming up at the beginning of the month. But we also talk to them about like Krampus and all the stuff that comes with that. And I think that it does help a little bit more than the elf, in my opinion, and keeping them acting right during the, they're kind of scared of Krampus. If you put like a bunch of videos of Krampus on and they find out like this creepy devil looking thing is going to come get you if you're bad, that's a little bit more insane, but that's just because they're young. So, but we love the tradition of putting our boots out, and you know, so most of the time they just get like oranges and like candy canes, and that's about all they get. But it's just the idea of the saint that, and we've told the whole story of like, you know, the saint visiting, and that's what he used to do, is visit the kids and give them stuff. So
yeah, I mean, we don't put our boots out, but like the 1st of December, I used to do this on New Year's Eve. So pajamas are always like a really big thing for us. Like we always get a pair of PJs for Christmas every year. And usually that would be our like New Year. We would get to open up one Christmas on New Year's growing up. And so that usually what it was. I kind of changed it up a little bit, kind of like based off of like having the St. Nicholas Day. And I kind of just did it towards on December 1st. Santa leaves a gift. So we have a Santa cam. We don't do the elf. I'm not that extra. So I just have this little Santa cam that has like this blinking light that runs on magic. So every year it powers back up, and Santa's elves can keep an eye on the kids, and they get their PJs and like a treat to go along with that. And sometimes we do board games. And so that's kind of like a nod to St. Nicholas Day, I guess. I guess I do that from that, but I really, if I do anything, it's probably like I don't even realize I'm doing it type of thing. I make Greek cookies. That's pretty much it. But that's just something that's passed down from my grandmother.
We're very set in every year routine of tradition that I was taught when I was younger. We also haven't PCS to anywhere fun like that, like Germany or anywhere. So we've been here in the United States. So no fun traditions other than from friends and family. And then we'll just kind of celebrate how they celebrate and then celebrate at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess another one that we kind of do over the we've been together for 13 years. So 13 years that we've been together, we've only done one Christmas with our family. It's kind of just, we've always been far away because we were in Hawaii and then we were in Germany. But then when we moved back, we just kind of really liked that tradition of being small and it just being us on Christmas Day and not having to worry about going to this person's house and that person's house and bringing gifts along. And we just kept that as our tradition. We did it one year just because we were in the middle of moving and it made more sense to be there versus decorating our houses and whatever in the midst of all of that. But yeah, that's kind of the only other thing but that's just because the distance over the first like 6 years of our marriage required us to be away. It's way too expensive to fly from Hawaii or Germany in Christmas time. It's just, that's irrational to do. And plus, who wants to leave Christmas time in Germany with all the Christmas markets? There's no reason
I wouldn't want to. I'd be like, if you guys want to spend Christmas with us, then you have to come here. But I would be like, I'm staying here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The Christmas markets were like,
Christmas time is like the most perfect place to be. Like everything about it is super fun.
Everywhere you drive is just lights. I mean, it's just glows everywhere. So when you come back here and live here, it's kind of sad. You're kind of like, wow, Americans don't really do much for Christmas at all. Like the tradition there is just so much. And it's not even like gift giving. The tradition of gift giving isn't really what it's about. It's about like being with your friends and your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like you spend more money during the Christmas markets on food and drinks and just talking to your friends and hanging out than ever buying gifts. Because most of the gifts are just little trinkets and like ornaments and stuff like that. So it's not really anything to give other people so much as to like decorate your house and whatever. But we loved it. We used to went like every night when we were there because it was just down the street and go have fries or whatever, bratwurst, and it's just different. It's so different coming back, especially we moved back to Texas, and if anybody knows Fort Hood, it's not a very exciting place to live. And it was just like, wow, that Christmas was so sad. We were just like, there's nothing to do here. So we kind of have that like seasonal depression now after living in Germany, like when you realize like it's not the same thing. And now our kids, I wish my kids had grown up in Germany and like gotten the tradition of like family and like the friends and stuff being more important, because now they're like totally commercial and want.
I think that's why I'm so extra. Like you've probably seen the memes where it's like my Christmas spirit, like it's Santa, and then like my spouse's Christmas spirit is like the Grinch. Like that's really us. Like me and Jeremy. Like Jeremy's just like, we're not really doing all that. And I'm like, yeah, we are. Like I want to have like the gingerbread decorating party, and I want to take the kids to all the things that we can do that is Christmas related, and I want them just to get out and experience the magic, the culture, everything about it. And he's always like, do we really have to go to another Santa thing? I'm like, yep, we do. I mean, you don't have to go, but we're going.
Yeah,
and I think that's
something every day for Christmas.
Yeah, and I think that's something I've pulled from Germany too, because like you were saying, like there really is a much different feel there, more of a community, which is why I like Christmas. It's about family coming together, spending time. So we usually are with some family members. I think the only year we didn't have family was before we had kids, but ever since we had kids, we're always with either his parents or my side of the family, which is fine with me. I love it. But that's how I grew up though. I grew up with my grandmother who was the hub, and like everyone would come to her house for Christmas. I kind of get that from her. So I'm like, yep, you want to do Christmas? Let's do Christmas. Everyone wants to come here? Let's do it.
Yeah, and Kim, you live with your family real nearby, so I'm sure everybody's there when you guys get together.
Yeah, I always travel home for the holidays. I would not be anywhere else than with my family. We've spent one or two with Travis's family, but they don't celebrate the way we do. So we usually come here and celebrate because Christmas is big for our family.
It's always nice to celebrate with people who like to celebrate the same way you do. It really sucks when you travel someplace and then you just sit there and do nothing. So
something funny. We went to my mother-in-law's for my first Thanksgiving away from my family. And all I wanted to do was bake pies to take them. And my mother was like, no, I got the pies. I'm making them. And so didn't know like what my boundaries were here. I get there and they were all store-bought. And I was so angry the whole time.
I would have been angry with you.
And so ever since then, my husband's like, no, you bring your pies. I don't care what she says. That's just, yeah.
I would have been so angry too. I'd have been like, all right, we're going to the store. I'm getting pie stuff. Like, I'm not eating this. I'm not eating a store bought pie on.
But it's
well,
like
I was telling Sabrina earlier.
Celebrate the same way.
Yeah. So I was telling Sabrina earlier at the coffee today that so we decided to go to Jeremy's parents for Thanksgiving. We didn't have plans. He's on the IRS, so he can't go very far. So we can't go to my side of the family in Tennessee. So my mother-in-law texts me. She's like, well, the kids eat ham and mashed potatoes. And I was like, they'll eat ham. And I was sitting there thinking and stewing, like, we better have turkey. Like, we better not just have ham. Like, so I texted her this morning and I was like, do we need to bring the fryer for the turkey? And she's like, yes. I was like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, we're still having turkey. And I was like, I was going to like text Jeremy and I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to go get a turkey because we're having turkey for Thanksgiving. Like,
either way.
One way or another, I'm getting turkey. But no, my mother-in-law has my back, and she wanted turkey, so.
We used to when we were kids. It was like Thanksgiving and Christmas were huge. Like we would alternate between my mom's family and my dad's family for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and it'd switch each year. And it used to be huge, but all of us have just kind of moved. I know that my brother is also in the military, so he's kind of, wherever that is. And it's really hard as a military members to always get leave on the holidays anyways. So we've just kind of all been in different places, and my uncles and stuff all moved to different places. So that it's sad because it used to be very, very like we'd be there for an entire week. We'd go out sledding. We would do like the whole everything. And it was so much fun, but it's not the same anyways. And my grandparents have passed. And so it's just different as we grew up anyways. My parents didn't really keep the tradition of those big holidays themselves. So
we still do the juggle back and forth on Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving. Christmas Day is the one day my husband's like, we will not go anywhere. So Christmas Eve, we bounce back and forth in between my dad, my mom, and then Thanksgiving the same way. So it's so much fun.
It's a lot. Yeah, you could eat a lot of food if you do 2 Thanksgivings.
It's a lot of baking and cooking.
Yeah.
But it's kind of why
we just do small because I don't bake. That's not my thing. We're going to make a pie next week with the kids. So we'll see how that goes.
I just want my kids to carry on those traditions of being together as a family. So if I show them like, yes, it's stressful and it's hectic, but when you're sitting around the table and you're sharing a meal with the ones that you love on a holiday, everything else is kind of off to the side. So just trying to keep that tradition of family is important. But being a military spouse, it is hard to travel back home. So sometimes you can't do that. So for me, growing up with a big family and being very traditional and doing what we do as a family, my husband, probably about 5 years into our marriage, was like, Kim, I'm your family. Me and my kids are your family. And that was really hard for me because I'm like, wait, no, they're my family. And he's like, no, we are your family. Mm-hmm. So I've had to take a step back and focus on, over the years, the kids, the husband, the wife being a family versus everybody as a whole. What's going on? What are we doing?
And I think that's important. And I think you're not the only one that does that. Like everyone is so focused on seeing grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, that they forget that sometimes you just have to say no and focus on your immediate circle and just go with the flow kind of thing.
And being a military spouse, you really have to choose what at that season of life that you're in is going to put you where you need to be. Because if going home into a stressful situation is not going to be healthy, then you need to stay home and start new traditions, do something with your family and your household.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we all have done deployments. I know I've done multiple ones over Christmas. So do you guys have any tips for how to kind of celebrate as a family together when you're not together?
Well, I think the first thing is to know that you can say no to your family, your immediate family around you. If you don't want to do something, it's okay to say no. It's okay. No, we want to have a quiet Christmas at home, or it's, hey, I do want to come for Christmas. Can we come for Christmas this year? I know we weren't supposed to because of, some families go back and forth. But I think it's important to know your boundaries and what you are willing to do without your significant other there. I guess it depends on when your significant other deploys. If it's close to the holiday season, say like they're deploying in October, November timeframe, maybe have the service member go purchase at least one gift they picked out for the kid or for whoever, and then have it set aside for Christmas morning, so that way they feel like they're kind of involved. Jeremy's been away for holiday seasons before, but he doesn't do the shopping, so a lot of that stuff he's not really into, so he doesn't feel left out of it. He's also kind of a Grinch, like I mentioned already, so he's not like he likes Christmas, like Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, he'll do all the things like that, but he doesn't really do a lot of the other stuff.
You can throw my husband into that mix
too, he's not like super excited to take the kids to see Santa or go watch he'll watch like some Christmas movies like Elf, like the classics, but like anything else like that, he doesn't do cookie decorating, right? Like any baking is always left to me. So like I think it depends on who your significant other is, but like you bake the cookies, send them a box of cookies, send them a cute care package decorated up, make sure they feel some Christmas cheer, send them Christmas ornaments and like tinsel, so you can send like that green tinsel and they can like pin up a Christmas tree and hang up Christmas ornaments in their tent so that they have their own Christmas tree. But I think it really depends on your significant other. It really does. Like mine, I'm kind of like he'll be sad that he's not physically there to celebrate with us, but like everything leading up to that point, I say he probably doesn't feel left out. He doesn't let on to it. Typical Army guy, right? But doing little things like that, I think, will be help. But I think the most important thing during the holiday seasons when you're away from your significant other is the ability to say no. I cannot do that mentally or physically, and making sure that you are okay with the holiday season by yourself.
Yeah, my biggest thing would be connection. I think it doesn't really matter, like, because when they're deployed, sending them gifts is kind of silly because then they have to ship it all back with them, but like little tiny trinkets and stuff. But so we just gotten married and he deployed the summer before, so he was gone over for our first Christmas together when we were married. But I sent a care package and we did there was 25 little envelopes and we did the like 25 topics that we talked about. So each day during our call or whatever it was, and it wasn't always a call because that was a long time ago, so it was like each day we each had it, we knew what was in, we had the same envelope, and so then it was like we write a letter or we do something to do with Christmas time, and it was just a good way to like have that connection, because back then when you didn't have the connection to be actually able to talk throughout the whole holidays, you might have got a call, probably got a call on Christmas, but it was probably like 5 minutes long. And so it was just having that sort of connection. And he was able to send me this massive bear. I was at work and it came to the apartment and it was the box was like the size of our door. My kids still have it. It was this massive bear that's an army bear, but it was perfect because it was someone to sleep next to in the bed, and it had his uniform on it with a hat and everything. It was so cute. And So it's just being able to find some way to connect with them during the holiday season that is different than usual, to make it more festive, some way to still feel like they're there, because they're definitely not. It's really hard. Even last year, we've been military associated for 12 years, and even last year during deployment, it was just sad. I didn't really want to do the fun things with the kids because I just wasn't in the mood, and I really wanted him there. And so it's different, and it's not, you should never expect it to be the same, but try to find ways to be connected. I know that Dustin, he probably pulled a full 24-hour shift with that duty that on Christmas, so that he could get on the webcam on Christmas morning and watch the kids open the presents and talk to them about what they got. So any way that you can pull that off, if it's possible, that's definitely helpful too.
Yeah. My husband, he's not very big into Christmas, especially if he's not home. If he's not home, it doesn't really mean much to him. But we always send a stocking with some goodies in it, not big, just little stuff. And then Christmas cards for him to hand out to the other guys, to kind of spread Christmas cheer. And then I always just send a lot of cookies or snacks, which I'm sure other people do as well. My husband likes to give, so I feel like sending him little snacks and goodies and silly stuff. I think one year I went to, this was before we had children, but I went to gumball machines and I got like slappy hands and just the most random, like the little people that you throw up and they have the little parachute. It was so random and silly, like little things. And I sent that stuff to them and they had a good time with it. They, hit each other with the slappy hands. And so I think finding ways for not only to be connected, like you said, but also for him to have a little fun, for your spouse to have a little bit of fun while they're gone, because over there, they're going to get probably one or two little special things like a cake or something. But other than that, there's nothing really special about their meals or what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think being able to send something for the single soldiers who probably, they're getting gifts from their parents, which are probably not what they want anyways, stuff that they don't need, because parents like to send huge care packages at Christmas time. I know that Dustin, not only did my parents the first year, but like my aunts, my uncles, like everybody sent him ridiculous amount of care packages. But if you can think of things to send for like the soldiers around him as well, I think that makes Christmas more fun for them. Even if maybe you wrap little presents so that on Christmas he can give out, and it could be like the dumbest thing, like you were saying, just find the dumbest things, or things that might even embarrass your husband to give out that he doesn't know what's in the box. Would be hilarious. Just ways to make Christmas morning something to look forward to. Speaking
of that, I went into a bookstore one time, and you guys, this is an adult podcast, right? I found a how to juggle book to send him. It was a kit with juggling balls in it, and this was at a bookstore, a regular bookstore. It was boobs. So
I bet that was 100% something that they all tried to do and tried to master from that.
I'm sure it embarrassed him, but at the end of the day, it gave them all something to laugh about. So
yeah, and it made their Christmas that much better. It's a memory that they're going to always have.
Yeah, I think going to what you said too, Ashley, I remember going to Thanksgiving dinner at my aunt's house, and she was like, put your phone down. We don't do phones at the table. I'm like, my phone does not leave my side. And they're like, well, it's really rude. Your family doesn't, especially my family, we don't have any military in our family. My husband's the first military person to be a part. So they don't get it. And it's really hard for me to explain to them, my phone stays with me. And if he calls, I will not be at the table.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to explain to people who don't understand why your phone is consistently in your hand, especially it's in the early 2000s. So we were all during that time frame where we got that phone call like maybe once a week, maybe. And it was like the worst feeling in the world when you missed that phone call. I remember because I was in college his first 2 deployments. So I would be in class and I'd be like, I'd tell my professor, like, he calls, he said he's going to call today. I don't know what time he's calling, but like, if I walk out of the classroom, like, really, really sorry, I will be right back. And sometimes when you explain it to people, they understand, but other times they're just like, yeah, that's rude. And I'm like, well, when you have someone fighting for your freedom across the world in a very dangerous place, then maybe one day you'll understand. But
yeah, just making sure that your family is considering and giving you a little bit of grace is definitely important.
Yeah, because I mean, even during deployments, if you go back and are with family, you may not be the happy, cheery, usual Christmas person. You know, you may just be sitting there worried, especially when there's big missions going on and you kind of have an idea of what's going on while they're deployed. It's impossible to sit there and just be like, oh, I'm fine, everything's fine. You shouldn't have to. I think if your family should know what's going on to some extent and give you the grace, give you the ability to just say no. If you don't want to sit there and play board games because you're not in the mood, then go sit in the room and read a book or whatever it is. You should be able to, like you were saying, be able to say no when it feels right.
Yeah. All right. So what's our next question, Sabrina?
Last question for tonight is, what is a holiday that you will never forget?
I know I've talked about this on previous podcasts, so I probably sound like broken record, but mine would be having Mason right before Thanksgiving, going home as a newborn, or not going home, but going to my aunt's for Thanksgiving and then going home for Christmas, and just not having Travis. And being a mom of 4 was new. And then Mason got RSV during Christmas. So we were in the ER for Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. And it was just a miserable holiday. But, you know, it made me stronger. So just something I won't ever forget.
Yeah, mine would be the Christmas in 2014. We didn't go home. We didn't have any family come, partly because I was due with my first. I ended up going into labor on Christmas. I ended up not having him until 1 a.m. So he was born on the 26th, but probably my most memorable because we had a great friends Christmas with some friends. We had dinner, we played board games. It was a great time. I mean, as great as the time it could be in labor. And I remember, you know, like I was sent home, barely made it back to the hospital, and had him. So that's probably my most memorable one in the more recent years. But I always loved my holidays when I was at my grandparents' house when I was younger. So just remembering seeing the Christmas tree my grandmother made and her making great cookies. And she taught me how to make my famous Butterfinger cake that I make for all the holidays now. So that one Christmas before they got sick. So that's also a pretty memorable one as well.
I could always talk about the Thanksgiving again, but that was just on a blog on our website a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to go back and tell you guys that one again. I'm sure, like Kim was saying, I think we've talked about it on here before too. But so I'm going to talk about a happy one to kind of end us. So in Germany, they have a holiday called Fasching. It's kind of like Carnival in Rio, I guess, if you know what carnival season is. But in Germany, there's a week of Fasching, which is the same thing. So they go out and they party. There's parades. You dress up crazy. The parades are insane. Like they hand out shots to adults as they walk past, like crazy parades. So I went out with one of my best friends that I had met there in Germany. We went out to the parade in mine next door, the city next door. We rode the trains over and somehow got swept up in this group of Germans that just like were having the best day of their life. And we wanted to have the best day of our life too. Like, why not enjoy the tradition while you're there? So we were like, okay, great. So we like went with them to these bars and they just partied all night long. And then at some point during the night, we're still in costume. We're dancing with this guy that's like dressed up as like an octopus. And you're dancing and he's like, get up on the bar, the tables. We're all going to do this German folklore song that they get up there and they all chant and they're like, ah, ah, ah. And it was like the coolest night of my life. I don't like the coolest party. Germans know how to party. And it just, I felt like part of them, we had no idea what they were saying in the songs or any of that stuff. Like, but they just got up there, they pulled us up on the table and it was just like, we were part of their group and it was no questions about it. Who cares if you're Americans? Like, we're celebrating one of our favorite holidays. This is like our favorite thing to get out and do. And we were able to just really be fully immersed that night. And so that's probably one of my most memorable holidays. And it's not even a holiday we celebrate anymore because you can't just go out in February and start partying like that. It's like Halloween in February. So, but that's probably my most memorable one. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed hanging out with us and had a really good chance to kind of get to know us a little bit better this episode. We are all looking forward to the holidays. We will be back with one more podcast before Christmas. There may be one the week of Christmas. We'll have to see what comes up. But we have one more guest coming for the year. And then we're going to start a new season with a couple different things that are coming out for Ruck Up Buttercup in the new year. So we are excited to have you guys following along and excited to bring you along as we continue this journey. But as always, like we like to say, Ruck Up Buttercup.